Do you know that most people in their 30s, or those who've already gone through their 30s, my phone is not. Yeah, those who've gone through their 30s will tell you that you become less likable once you are in your 30s. Hi, I'm Sheila. I'm a Kenyan ICU nurse living in Germany. And every other week, I don't want to say every week because that's a lie, I share something that has made me stop and think, and this is one of them. To be honest with you, I'm just 4 years into my 30s, and one thing I've realized is that you don't suddenly become a different person because you're in your 30s. You just become more aware of how much of yourself you've been giving away in your 20s. And one of the biggest shifts is that boundaries become so much easier to set. That doesn't make you mean. It's just the fact that you come into the realization that disappointing someone else sometimes is the price you have to pay in order to not disappoint yourself. And then something else also starts happening. You stop asking the people around you, either friends or family, of what they think of an idea or a decision before you make that decision. And that just doesn't say that you know everything. It's just that you finally trust yourself enough to carry the consequences of your own choices. And that's much more easier to bear if it goes wrong. When it comes to your friendships in your 30s, you start to see it differently. You stop measuring friendships according to how many people you know or how many people surround you. Instead, you start asking yourself, who would actually show up for me if life falls apart in the middle of the night? You become more comfortable as well to say no. And then you notice that people who used to benefit from the old version of you with no boundaries, they start shedding off. And they're the ones who struggle the most to keep those boundaries you've set. You also stop trying to convince people to see your worth because the right people would not actually need you to prove your worth to them. Another thing changes. Drama stops feeling exciting. You start wanting peace. Peace excites you more than anything. A quiet home excites you more. Anybody who cancels plans on you last minute are actually doing you a big favor because then now you have an evening to yourself. You start craving the kind of peace which your nervous system can just breathe and relax. You become protective of your time and your energy. And these two things, time and energy, they are those things which you used to have them less in your 20s. So you appreciate it right now. And then comparison, the thief of all joys, it starts losing grip of you, and you realize that everyone is carrying different responsibilities. People have different dreams. We have different wounds. We have different traumas, and that's why our starting points are different. And that's why comparing each other's timelines at that point doesn't make sense at all anyway. And finally, confidence looks different. It doesn't require you to be the loudest person everybody knows. It just confidence become you being so comfortable with yourself that you no longer feel the need to prove anything. I think with all this, it just makes sense that people who have turned 30 realize that something shifts. Life doesn't suddenly become easier. It never does. You just stop living on autopilot like the way you did in your 20s. You stop asking the question, what kind of life am I supposed to live? What other people think you're supposed to live? And you start asking, do I actually like the life I'm living at the moment? And what can I do to change that if I don't like it? And those two are completely two different questions. Think about that.